Well, that's a brand new and hopefully regular feature over on Ball Street on the Social Club. We're doing this thing called Club Together, where fans of clubs across the spectrum of football get together to discuss the big issues that affect football fans. One big topic that can't have escaped a lot of people's attention this week, an issue at Liverpool versus Man United at Anfield in the Europa League. Man United fans reportedly singing anti-Hillsborough songs, and look, it'd be unfair of me to sit here and say Liverpool fans haven't been guilty in the past of singing Munich songs or whatever. So I've got the panel here, and I thought it best to ask, and I'll start with Ped on this first. Is it time that we brought an end to these offensive chants?
Yeah, absolutely. It's it's 2016. We're talking about people as football fans that regularly are looked down at by the authorities. Before we start, we're not treated like adults when we go to the game. We're not allowed to drink. Now, you can understand to a point why that is, because we do, some of us act like kids when we go to the match. Yeah. Now, the match, go, enjoy yourself. But when it starts getting dragged to these levels, you understand why at times we're treated like kids. We've seen in the last couple of weeks, fans come together and produce something really important with getting ticket prices lowered. Yeah. That wasn't the clubs. That wasn't the Premier League. That was fan groups getting together and making the voice heard. And there wasn't even that many of them, because some fans thought it'll never happen. It's a waste of time. But we're lucky in this city. We've got groups that look after us really well, and we have a, whether people like it or not, we're quite militant in this city. We look after our own, and people have pushed it, and it's been shown that by coming together, our voices have been heard. So this has got to start happening, in football as well. I hate chants like that. I also hate chants when people laugh at teams for not being able to fill their grounds. Chants about people having no jobs, and you just think we're all in the same boat. We're all football fans. Literally. We're all being ripped off. We've all got economical struggles. Don't be laughing at us because let's take Man City. They want to prosper as a club, and they've built their ground. Now they don't necessarily have the fans to fill that at the moment, or they're in a lot of different competitions, and people laugh at them because they can't fill those grounds. And you think, no, that we're all in that situation. So
I think that's a crossover point for me, because I think that's in some respects, I think what you're basically saying is that you're playing twice a week and you're charging people 50, 60 pounds a pop. It's actually no surprise when your working class core of your fan base actually can't afford to pay over £100 a week to watch football, when that's realistically speaking, even if you're on minimum wage, you're working over full time, that's like almost half your weekly wage goes on just on footy before you're paying your bills. But on the flip side of that, I don't know. There's got to be something we can use to take the piss out of other teams for, and I think in the Man City thing, it's more a case of the fact that their fans walk out when the team losing after half an hour, which is a reasonable thing to do. But I think Sam, obviously, Liverpool, Man United, at the forefront of this in recent weeks. It was the Munich anniversary a few weeks ago. Hillsborough anniversary is coming up again. That seems to be the one that always ends up at the forefront of it, because I think it's a remnant of 80s football, to be perfectly honest. It's a remnant of this really nasty edge to what football used to be. And I just don't see personally why this needs to continue. There's too much that happens of like, well, you guys sang this, so we sang. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
a bit of one-upmanship on it.
It's been that sort of vicious circle, you said, he said, for far too long. But I think the problem with it is it only takes one or one little spark in a crowd to get it going, and I think that's why it's going to be so hard to stop, because yes, 95 or 99% of us all are going to agree, say, look, there's no place for this in football. These are tragedies outside of football not outside football, but off the pitch that, come on, we're all human beings first and foremost, not just football fans. But it just takes one who's had 6 cans too many, just to say something, and then if it's the wrong time, like you're 2-0 down at Anfield against your bitter rivals, and someone else going to think it's a good idea, it's very easy to say without emotion, and in a situation like this, 4 lads on 4 chairs, how very easy it is to do. But once you're getting caught up in the emotion of the time, not that I'm saying I've done it or condone it, but that's when the fires start.
Let's be perfectly honest. Every one of us at some point or another, probably through being a teenage dickhead or whatever, has sang something with his mates that you would never, you know what I mean, that you'd be embarrassed. You've said something or done something that you look back now and you think, oh my God, what I was at the time. But you're right. The problem is there's this sort of like, it's a gang mentality, isn't it? When you get a group of people together, particularly football fans, and it takes a small pocket to kick it off. I think it's all right. It's easier when you're in a match and one fella behind you turns around and shouts something racist. It's easy to turn around and go, shut your face, you don't, you know what I mean, and have a go at someone. Whereas if you've got 5,000 people around you, what are you going to do? You can walk out, you can keep quiet, which you can, but you can't stop 5,000 people around you from singing that, which I think is an issue. Go on, you don't agree.
I don't necessarily agree with that, because what I will say is, when we play Liverpool, obviously Hillsborough stuff doesn't come into it, but you've got the Heysel stuff that comes into it now and again. It's died off a lot. Now one of the chants that Everton fans used to sing was Murderers, obviously, and some still do. You can't hide from that. But I think what's important is, and I've done this myself, is that other fans shout them down or start booing.
Or start singing something else.
Yeah, or start booing or start singing something else. Because whether you like it or not, and whether this is the right reason or not, it makes your club look like idiots. It makes you look like idiots, because the next day you come in and go, and if that TV picked up that you're singing, you go, well, that's your club and you represent them by doing this. Now, if that small thing I can do is have a go at my own fans or boo them down, or
so you should,
then you should. That's what you should do. It's like, that's the thing you should be doing. Or this is another for the stewards. The stewards should be getting involved. Singing those songs should be just as bad as a racist comment. And I've seen if someone says something racist now, it's shocking now at a match. Yeah, it is shocking now. It's a very small thing now, and people are disgusted. And I think stewards, clubs should say, well, if we hear it, we'll grab them and we'll throw them out. We'll get stewards in there. It's got to be treated as bad as racism, or anything like that. I see people getting dragged out of grounds for smoking now. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So it should be treated just like that. So if we can do that, and if our own fans can do that, then, if you want to have a singer-song about Steven Gerrard's kids, then, but it's bad.
But
it's bad.
Not the same,
it's bad.
It's
like, it's all funny, but then it comes to a point where it's not funny, and it just depends how.
You can't sit here and defend Steven Gerrard, saying Steven Gerrard's kids are illegitimate.
Not now, I can't.
Well, now that you've made a big song and dance. But this is the thing. It's like at Arsenal, they've got they were defender Robin van Persie to the hilt. Second he leaves from Man United. All she said no stuff comes out from Arsenal fans, and it's.
I think what it's key to think about is just keep it about football. That's what. If it's not about football, then you go into a grey area essentially. If you look at all the examples we're thinking about, one example for Villa is that one away game, like a bunch of 100, 200 Villa fans in, like, where you get your food and stuff before the game. We're singing. We're all having a party when Randy Lerner dies, and I'm not a massive fan of the bloke, obviously, but that's disgusting. Yeah. And every single Villa fan that should be able to call that out and say, no, do not say that. And it should be kept about the football. Because at the end of the day, that's all we're here. We're not here for any other reason other than the football on the pitch. Yeah, and that's where it should stay.
The problem we've got is that it's finding that balance. And I think a lot of it comes down to, I think originality in football is dying a death, in terms of songs and all. Everyone sings the same song. I can't count how many times I've heard that, where's your famous atmosphere?
My garden shed.
Yawn. You know what I mean? Come up with a new. Everyone sings that. You've got like Chelsea fans singing songs about Steven Gerrard at the Everton game.
I know, and expect us to join in.
Yeah.
And we're just like, no.
But it's exactly, and it's the thing is, instead of, because what used to happen was, because obviously there's got to be an incendiary nature to it, because it's like you are going into a singing fight against the opposition. You're a small force going in, you're completely outnumbered as the away fans, and you go in and then you come up with a chant. I remember as a kid, like the cop had come up with something funny back, you know what I mean? And but now it's either, it's that, like, people come with that, this is a library and all this kind of stuff, which is just so, it's the same boring chants over and over
again. I think part of it is like the us against them mentality that we have in this country, because like I might be completely incorrect in this, but from my experience in away games in foreign countries like Spain or Italy, this.
Don't have it.
Well, Italy's probably a very bad example, but Spain especially.
They don't even have home fans in it.
Yeah. Well, it's just like it's not the same. You don't get the same kind of like horrible vitriol, like, kind of atmosphere us against them, kind of divide and conquer. And I think it could be something
I'm sure
to
the
do
people
with.
with buttock wounds who've been to Rome will probably tell you otherwise.
I'll take Italy out of that equation, but like Spain especially, like I've not experienced. I'll hear much like violence or like horrible chanting about that kind of stuff.
There's plenty. There should be plenty. I said this about like the Man United thing is that because here's the problem at a position we're faced with is that Man United fans singing things that they shouldn't have been singing in the first leg. Liverpool are going to go to Old Trafford, and I'm praying. There's no, there's no retaliation. There's no people want jump into it because it's the hypocrisy of going, oh, Man United fans, which is actually not about because, as I say, I've heard Munich. I've not heard them in Anfield.
At the end of the day, nobody should be singing songs about people dying that have died. And then you get people go. The thing about Hillsborough is, you get people going, well, why are you still going on about it? And that's one thing I always hear. Why are you still going on about it? Why couldn't you just leave it in the past? Because if we as a city had left it in the past, then the people who died would have got no justice, which is eventually, so that's why it'll be left in the past when it gets sorted, hopefully this year. But nobody should sing about anyone dying, not ever. Yeah. It's just, that's not a nice thing. To something that you do every week. Like, when Hillsborough happened, I was at the other semi-final. I was at Villa Park. So, that could have been me. You got to think about things like that. Hillsborough, Munich was like, imagine as a football fan, your club, people you idolise every week, go to a match away and then don't come home, and then all your heroes die. Yeah. Like, literally, not necessarily for us, we're probably past that age of like, we go, to football, but imagine you've got a kid who adores a football player and you've got to tell your son or daughter that their favourite, their hero, their superhero is died. Yeah. Think about it like that. That's pretty bad.
Exactly. I like the Hillsborough stuff as well, as you say. It's that. But for the grace of God, any team could have been in that semi-final because any team entered that competition. They could have been in the semi-final. They could have been the Leppings Lane, and that day could have happened to any set of fans.
For a set of balls that you could have been in Villa Park, I could have been in Hillsborough. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. That's that. To glorify that, to try and get one up on your biggest rivals.
Right, so we've all identified the problem, but how do you stop that? How do you address that sort of problem?
Well, I just think it's about, as I say, it's about. Here's the thing about the Man United one. Like, so Liverpool travel to Old Trafford this week. There's plenty to take the piss out of Manchester United. You know what I mean? If you're looking to get a rise, no, exactly. I'm being funny, but you should look at football club and find these, not call Diego. Well, I was going to say call Diego Costa the Elephant Man. Is that fair? I don't know. But again, you're right. It's tricky. I genuinely don't know. I genuinely don't know the answer. But there should be. I know people saying like there should be more intelligent people go, oh, that's an oxymoron in football. It's not, because there's some very, very witty people who go to football matches.
Football fans are actually quite savvy when it comes to PR now.
Yeah.
So if you were a Liverpool fan, you'd be thinking, let's win the game and let's win the hearts and minds as well. you do though, don't you? You've got listen, football fans.
You say that, but there are a lot of biffs who go to football
you can't
matches.
tell me that when it comes to, I'm not saying you're a leader, but you and other people in the media, fan media, whatever you want to call it, can be quite persuasive when it comes to, you have leaders when you go to away games, faces, you'll see faces every week, people who are there. If they can get a grip of certain people and go, listen lads, we'll win the game, don't do anything stupid, songs, and we'll come out of this looking like, and that might be a really... That might be a really 21st century way of looking at things, rather than going, no, let's not stoop to their levels. Yeah. But you can come away going, we will look the better club from this. Yeah. And if you do that, I think you'll got, that's a quite sensible way.
Sorry. Go on, Jay. No,
I was going to say, just like, I think the best thing about, I think the way to look at it is like what we're doing now. We've got like 3 rivalry teams sitting down, all chatting with each other, and that's being broadcasted to how many thousands of people. And that just shows.
Although most of them will probably think that this is not like this is a clone version of me.
But that's positive. That's positive. That shows a great message to people that we can sit down, have a proper conversation without letting our emotions, our feelings, get the better of us. Because that's what it's about. At the end of the day, it's about football, and you've got to kind of realise, detach yourself from like the whole kind of like the hooliganism culture and that kind of fan culture attached to it and stuff.
And we'll just have to go back to singing more about winning 5 European Cups. That's easy. So I just know people watching at home, and I want to get as many people involved in this as possible. We're going to be doing the Club Together thing as a regular thing on the channel. Your opinions, and let's not be too serious on this point, because I actually think we should end this on a high note. Give me some good ammunition that we can use to make songs to take the piss out of Man United, and vice versa. Give Sam some good things that he can take the piss out of for Liverpool. You know, short and sweet things that maybe scan into easy songs.
To be fair,
Xhaka or something. I don't know.
Sam is a fair representation of the Manchester United fan base, so make sure. He looks like Tintin. So, you know, he's the man to speak to, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly. So, and again, Everton, I want good, solid, safe, non-horrifically, cripplingly offensive.
PC, very PC.
No, I don't even...
I don't want PC. No, it's not about being PC.
Not about PC. Not about being
it's
bored.
Definitely not about being
Don't
PC.
bring up PC, oh God.
Yeah.
Meltdown.
Yeah, exactly. I want some good, solid things that you can take the piss out of in the comments below for as many of the Premier League football clubs as possible. Let's see if we can let's see if we can ignite something without basically without being disrespectful to the dead, racist, homophobic, or any other things that people think that every football fan is. Let's actually do something for a change.
Too bad, ain't bad.
Yeah. There we go. Brilliant. There he is. Hiya, Pez.
He's back.
Welcome back. Check out the rest of the Social Club content. We're here every single week chatting through some of the more serious and some of the less so serious issues that surround world football.